much better this time, and I think they will have the damage to support it. Paquito and Bernadette are going to try dashing, but dashing through Bane's shocks are going to be hell. But we'll see how RSG do in this one. Is it going to be 2-0 or EVOS going to equalize? Abstract, Eris, take it away.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we do have RSG that is going to be starting off on the blue side at the bottom left, while EVOS starting up at the top right hand side. It does seem like RSG does seem to have a little bit of a greedy lineup to a certain extent, whereby they just want to put out damage all across the board, and I believe that that might be the MO that they are looking out for and play safe for now.
Yeah, moving back to what we talked about game 1, it's all about making sure that LY4 inside RSG stays safe. He nearly gets in a tough spot, but Lozi is there as to take Camilla to just kind of keep them alive. Well, interestingly enough, I think EVOS here, they definitely do have a better game in some sense. Potato now doesn't necessarily need to stand the front line. He can still act as a definitely a more comfortable carry in the sense that he's not that squishy as compared to playing a conventional marksman.
Well, when it comes to the sidelines, it kind of seems as though they are all relatively balanced to a certain extent. I believe that that should be the case, since Paquito against Fervius, you can't do too much against the Fervius, considering the fact that he does have a decent amount of damage when it comes to breaking the wall with his little wrecking ball. And you can't initiate very well, especially when it comes to your 1-2 punch, and literally just get close to him. So you don't want to give him too much stack, or sorry, you don't want him to get too much cooldown reduction whenever he gets himself to the floor.
I love tough boots being picked up by JPL here. Plenty of stuns and lockdowns coming for RSG. Interestingly enough, like Sandra mentioned, that Camilla doesn't really provide too much stuns, but Camilla does have one of the strongest lockdowns. He can actually lock 2 characters down with the ultimate and the Curse of Blood combo. So RSG here looking to unleash the burst damage coming out LY4. Remember, it's all about making sure LY4 has a good game.
As now, Baby Cake move on together with Jason right onto Sayla. HP is pretty down low, and he even tried to go for the Yin Yang overturn. And in the end, RSG secures first blood. While we are looking at Adamir, slams right down, gets a kill on top of LY4. One of the main important players from the side of RSG, but it's okay, because all across the board from RSG, they all have got damage. So I gotta have to still give it over to RSG for taking the first 2 kills.
Yeah, the first kill coming out from here, keeping himself alive and all of that. But good aggression coming up for RSG, breaking down EVO's momentum in terms of trying to contest for the total here. Adamir getting bullied by Jason, and this is something that we're gonna see constantly, right? Jason, even though Paquito does get counted by Forward to a certain extent, look at how aggressively Jason is playing on top of Adamir. He's like, I dare you, and he's making Adamir use so much of that mana. And obviously because Adamir also had a bit of a part to play in the earlier team fight, and now it's because he's low on mana. Jason knows that he can't really spam those skills, and he's just going in so deep, knowing that the Malefic Roar is not available for that Forward player. LF4 nearly got invaded by JPL there. But coming back to the fact, yeah, Camilla is just a good pick to link up the rest of RSG, because RSG has a lot of decent burst, and with Camilla, she just unlocks everyone's full potential. You're gonna see that often a lot. And wow, look at that, Jason just bullying Adamir in this top lane.
Yeah, this is really tough for Adamir to even do anything. And the fact that Jason playing as a Paquito, actually even proxying the lane, is pretty darn scary onto EVOS. But if they do want to go on rotation, they gotta have to open up the maps as much as possible. As you can pretty much see, they're kind of losing the edge in the on the river. They don't even know that 505 and Lolzy is around the area, or JPL channels up onto the Tyrant's Revenge. Could not land on anything, but RSG has rallied up almost all of his members except for Baby Cakes down in the bottom.
Yeah, despite all of that, I think this is definitely a very close game as compared to game 1, which we saw RSG kind of just spiraled out of control after having only one bad team fight. And this time around, EVOS just holding their ground because they have heroes that are slightly less beauty to an extent. Potato has slightly more range on his Bane, doesn't really need to commit his body at the front line, allowing the Kufa to do what he does best. But here, getting ganked here.
Good eye for an eye, ensuring that Gear's steel tip cape is unable to connect onto Baby Cake and even give him some more shard residue stacks. While Lolzy finds himself in front. Lolzy finds himself on the Potato, not being able to do much damage though, but I believe that he even tried to go for the Curse of Blood, didn't really manage to tether himself across all of the other heroes. But all in all, RSG still set up a pretty good fight for themselves and hence bringing down Potato, ensuring themselves being able to take the turret down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, good zoning coming up for RSG. The previous team fight, I think Gear did the right thing. He was using the Black Dragon to actually try to pull the members of RSG away, but they couldn't clear the turtle quickly enough. So that gave RSG a bit of that confidence to go back into the fight. And because of that, EVOS was actually eventually zoned out by the Camilla. She was on the back line, just pushing away. Jason doing a very good job with the heavy jab as well to keep members of EVOS on the fringe of the battle. Top lane though, oh, Baby Cakes playing very aggressively. They actually swapped the lanes. And now with Gear going down, it does look like RSG can look to pressure the mid.
Well, doesn't seem like things are looking too well for EVOS. Despite their lineup trying to go for the counter using their having Adamir in this with Fervius, they're not really making the team fight that they really wanted at this point in time. JPL forced to deplete his flicker while Jason comes in between of this first tier and second tier turret in the middle lane, and he's pretty much the one that's zoning people out amazingly because he is the one that's holding the front line, trying to hold on the CCs. The CC is just going to be landing down on the Adamir. Adamir trying to go right out. Demonic Force trying to land on LY4, but unfortunately no more jumps is available for him as LY4 is not using any form of escape spells. A lot of RSG players' HP are going down low. RSG dropping Longsi to a sliver of health, but alas, it is still not enough. EVOS, they can't catch up.
Yeah, it was definitely looking very rough in this first half of the game too, kind of similar to how it was in game 1, but I would say there is still a bit of a hope given that if they can get Potato to come online, they can still win the game. Now the issue is how are they going to deal with Lolzy, because Lolzy is constantly in the face, opening up maps, and on top of it you also have Jason that's playing on this Paquito, just creating all the space and just split pushing, and because of that, look at that, LY4 is left completely untouched while he's taking the total. EVOS doesn't even have a way to contest for these objectives that they need to in order to try to just balance away that goal difference that RSG has kind of put ahead.
I think one thing that we really have to emphasize on is the fact that RSG, they are clearing waves really fast, and so it would activate a lot of mobility all across the map. RSG, they were formerly at the top lane, and now we're starting to see Baby Cakes joining up with Jason down in the bottom lane. As Adamir finds himself HP down to close to 50%, he does have a little bit of shield thanks to Malefic Terror as he goes on. Demonic Force jumping onto Jason. Baby Cake, HP down low, doesn't matter. 505 melts him down almost immediately as the entirety of EVOS have decided to leave him alone there as there's really nothing else that he can do.
Yeah, I go back to the fact EVOS are just struggling going up against this Camilla. Remember, while Adamir was trying to do as much as he can to buy time and hopefully try to bring some down for RSG, EVOS had no reply. They couldn't even kill the Camilla. She wasn't under pressure. Lolzy was just standing in their faces, and this just cuts off EVOS when someone on their team gets caught. And in that particular situation, it was actually Adam. Now, imagine the situation where Sayla or Potato was in that spot. That could mean very, very bad results for EVOS because none of their cores are coming online. They have no response to this Camilla pick. They're struggling in trying to find team fights that are favorable to them. And even now still, they're winning in individual battles where RSG is just pressure. Look at Jason. He can't even reach that tier 2. He has to forfeit that outer turret.
That is just zoning potential that Jason is able to force his way through with Yuzhong. And the Cassius Jinx is playing through. EVOS, Yuzhong, unable to do anything at this point in time, and that is one of the problems which we can touch on in a while later because he really don't have a lot of targets to go for. One of the few targets he can go for is just LY4 or 505. 505 can just black shoot himself right out of the way. Well, LY4, well, he can deal a decent amount of damage onto Gear while having a decent amount of space between him as well as the opponents.
EVOS there, I think they have to look for a fight, honestly, but it's more important that they need to take LY4 out of the picture. And how do they do that? I think first and foremost, they need JPL to kind of just play a little bit deeper onto the backlines of RSG. It is going to be a risk, but at this point, you're on the back foot. If you continue doing what you're doing, which is allow Lolzy to just cut your formation into half, you're never going to reach LY4. Because if Lolzy can just separate 3 of your entire team away from LY4, then the Granger can just slowly burst the member that's isolated away. So I think JPL, he needs to do that. He needs to be able to zone the backline of RSG away while they deal with this Camilla with numbers, and they need to do it fast.
I don't know if it's just me, but EVOS lineup kind of seems like they're lacking a little bit of mobility. Whenever someone initiates, they don't really have a lot of followers. As you can pretty much see, JPL initiates with Gear flying onto the back line, pushing 505 as well as Jason away from the main fight. But RSG, they understood that they don't really have to do anything at this point in time because we've got Baby Cakes that is just going onto a backdoor run, destroying the inhibitor turret up in the top lane.
RSG currently in the lead, 7k goal lead, and that's due to the superb drafting coming up. They don't really need to look for team fights, and even if they want, they can. Now EVOS trying to go for the conceal play. JPL actually tries to find the kill, and look at that, Baby Cakes just doing what he does best as a Benedetta, and now they have to back off. Can Losey actually find us? They stop the Kufra, the Uso goes back, and it's all down to the Adria to actually defend this one against Baby Cakes. Well, Baby Cakes can't exactly end the game right now, but look at that. Because of the individual play coming from Baby Cakes, RSG now have the numbers and the control of the launch piece.
Well, it is a big fight after all. RSG has segregated Adamir away from teamfight, which is something that is going to be pretty darn crucial, ensuring that the Demonic Force is not able to come out. And in the meantime, here, using out the Black Dragon form and RSG securing the Lord, that is going to be a very big boost of momentum for them as they move on, ensuring that they don't needlessly throw bodies at EVOS. But speaking of which, it does seem like that may very well be the case, as Lolzy, HP down low, even tried to go for the vengeance, but he's still dead. The rest of the members moving up on Gear, Gear flees, and he will not see the light of the day, as Jason immediately punched him right in the face or two, as the Lord marches up to the top lane.
Yeah, I like that coming from EVOS, taking away Lolzy, but RSG, they have very mobile heroes. Jason on the Paquito, Baby Cakes on the Benedetta. When you have a bit of a divided attention on EVOS, focusing on different carries, they can hurt you. They have a lot of assassins, a lot of burst damage they can hunt your backline.
A lot of mechanics being played out from RSG. They are syncing up the waves from top, middle, and bottom lane. Most of RSG's players have gathered down to the bottom. The only problem is that they do not have Carmilla. So initiating is gonna be tough. They can only whittle down the towers a little bit here and there and try to suffocate EVOS a little bit more further. Because one thing's for sure, as I've said before, EVOS have got great initiation ability coming in from the side of JPL or even Gear, but follow-ups may be a bit tough.
Well, look at LY4. He's been protected a lot, and now he's going to start building into the endless battle. He's got slightly a bit of a sustain because of the brute force armor, and with that also grants additional mobility because of the movement speed.
There we go.
So it's look at that Lolzy, just standing in the face.
Unfortunately, we do have a Baby Shark. It's just going to be activated coming from the side of Potato. He's still pretty safe with 50% HP left. What a Demonic Force just going to be slamming himself right down to Baby Cake. HP down low. Baby Cake trying to get himself away. Wasn't able to see all of that while everyone else is going to be bursting into flames. We've lost here. Baby Cake going down 4 in favor for Gear. So it is a 1-4-2 trade while JPL transforms himself into a ball, bounces himself right on top of 505, and that is 3 members down from RSG. Make that a 4 maybe. And
LY4
in front of EVOS' face, and JPL slams them right onto the wall, and that is going to be a delivery from EVOS onto the second tier turret. Most of the members coming from RSG, they all have the depth time time.
It's a base race.
It is a base race indeed, but I'm pretty sure that EVOS will be able to continue this on. The Baby Shark comes out once again. JPL lands himself right on top of Lolzy. Wasn't able to do quite much, but the core, in the end, still goes down after one great push. One amazing fight that EVOS tossed out.
EVOS-SG, and that's why you never count them out. They're the defending champions. They are the kryptonite in the face of RSG's face. And I gotta say, EVOS, they finally took the fight. They were looking for it the longest of times, and in that very last moment, they zoned LY4 off. They found the entry point that they were looking for the longest of times. We will be able to see it coming into the replays. But first off, I gotta say, look at the stats. The stats do not tell the full story. Everything is blue. You've got the Lord in RSG's favor. You've got turtles being taken as well. The towers. The only 3 towers that EVOS took was down the mid lane. 5-man mid.
That is true.
And the game after a fantastic fight.
There is just too much to cover when it comes to match number 2. RSG seems like they are in the zone of their own. It kind of seems like they can just play it safe and then eventually win in the later stages, considering the fact that they have a lot of damage. But EVOS is not going to let them do that. In fact, not a lot of us would have realized that the last fight would be the last fight.
Well, first off, we gotta talk about this Bane.
Right.
Potato playing the Bane is something that we saw in yesterday's game. It actually worked out for them in game number 3 when they didn't have a marksman. Now this time round, EVOS going for a very similar strategy. They did not pick up a marksman on Adamir, but more importantly, the Phoveus was there to counter the mobility output by RSG. You got Paquito, you have a Grandeur, you have a Benedetta. And what does that mean? Now, with the Benedetta and Paquito, it's very straightforward. They're definitely going to have that mobility every time they use their skill. But for Grandeur, this means that he can't afford to use his second skill to get himself out of the trouble. And so because of that, LY4 has to have very impeccable positioning in order to not get caught out by the Phoveus. And that also means that